A graphic here that I'm briefly going to show here that will give you the primetime lineup and how you can potentially tune into other stations to maintain your viewing of your programming right now, as we're getting more information from the National Weather Service that the tornado warned the tornado-warned storm in southern Sauk County, northern Iowa County, eastern Dane County. We're going to continue that warning. Severe thunderstorm is still located near Spring Green. This would be just east of Spring Green. Put a little track on this here, and am I getting word that Jacob has some additional information to share? Was that what I heard, or no?
Yeah, the storm to the south of the tornado warning, as you mentioned, producing wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour. Taking a look at wind tracker for this system. Now, thankfully, we're not seeing any rotation, but we're seeing straight line winds at 70 miles per hour, which could definitely do some damage. Now, let's track this system out. It is heading right towards Dane County, so a big population center around Madison. We will likely be seeing some, at the very least, very strong storms. Now, it's moving to the east-northeast, kind of actually due northeast at around 35 to 40 miles per hour. So that puts it in line to hit Verona by around 7:20, Fitchburg 7:25, Waunakee 7:28, and Madison likely around 7:30 to 7:45. So this system is heading right towards Dane County, and as I mentioned, we're seeing wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour with this system. But obviously, we have several other severe thunderstorm warnings. Looking further north, there is that severe thunderstorm warning just to the southwest of Wisconsin Dells. This specific system is producing wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour, so not quite as severe, but still severe level, and hail up to an inch in diameter. Now let's take another look at that tornado-warned storm and check on the wind tracker for any additional rotation. Yeah, we still are seeing this rotation. Looks like it's now kind of to the northeast of Spring Green. For those of you in Spring Green, though, stay put still. Let the storm get a little further away. We're also seeing plenty of rainfall. Just to the northwest of Arena. And if you're in Black Hawk, if there's a possibility of a tornado on the ground, it will hit your area next. So stay in your basement, lowest, most interior portion of your home. I would even advise people to, as I talked about earlier in this live cast, to possibly get a couch and flip it over, hide under the couch. That would make you even safer. And it's also heading right towards you folks in Honey Creek. Looks like it might miss Prairie du Sac, but I would advise everyone in Prairie du Sac to do the same. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Alex Arrington for more.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob. Give you an opportunity to take a breather there with that particular storm and review the other storms. This whole line of thunderstorm stretches from north and west of the Dells clear down to the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Again, Sauk County, northern Iowa County, Spring Green, Arena, Mazomanie, Black Earth, even areas up towards Prairie du Sac and Sauk City. This is the time to get to the center of your basement, interior room on the lowest floor, cover your head and seek shelter in a sturdy building. If you don't have access to a sturdy building, get down to the ground, make yourself the lowest profile. We still have strong suspect that there is rotation ongoing over the southern portion of Sauk County at this point in time. If you are in a vehicle, ideally try to seek a sturdy shelter. This is very close to Highway 14. If you're outside, you don't have access to a sturdy shelter, get in the ditch, let the storm pass. You want to be the lowest profile possible. If you have access to a public building, you want to get into those interior rooms, stores, those walk-in fridges, offer that decent amount of protection from tornado winds. And I'm going to go back up to the wind tracker there and take a peek here at what we're up against here in the southern part of Sauk County, the northern portion of Iowa County, the northwestern portion of Dane County. Still a little bit of good news here, perhaps, seeing some broadening of the rotation. Actually, we just had a new update as we speak right now. It's live television. This is still a decent couplet, if you will. This is north and east of Spring Green, southwest of Black Hawk, just west of Highway 60. We'll put a little bit of tracking on this. So if you're tuning in Arena, this rotation would be very likely north of the Wisconsin River. If you are in Spring Green, and as we get another update, this rotation is about 6 miles to the northeast of Spring Green, very much nearing the community or town thereof of Black Hawk. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer as this storm then is going to be approaching the Prairie du Sac and the Sauk City area as it rolls off to the east-northeast at about approximately 35 to 40 miles per hour. So rotation right now, according to our wind tracker tool, would be north and west of Highway 60 that takes you over towards Prairie du Sac and over towards Sauk Cities, where we're currently seeing the potential here for rotation. Jacob, sounds like you have more information as well.
Yeah, we have a viewer photo sent in of some hail, looking like this hail is about the size of a nickel, just a little under the size of a bottle cap. This was sent in by Amy, and this is from Dodgeville. So thank you, Amy, for submitting your photo. And we want to preface that there's more than just the tornado threat. There also is that hail threat. But we also want to talk about that storm to the south of the tornado warning for one of two reasons. One, we could be seeing wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour with this storm, and it is racing 55 miles per hour to the northeast, straight towards Dane County, and we could be talking about storms across Dane County over the next 30 minutes. So here's the timing out of this storm to the south of the tornado warning: 7:09 in Mount Horeb, 7:15 in Cross Plains, 7:22 Verona, 7:25 Middleton. It'll be in Madison by around 7:30. And I also noticed that we do have an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning. This includes most of Dane County. It also includes Madison, as well as Columbia County and Greene County. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so the wind gust threat has decreased a little bit, but there also is an increase in the tornado threat from this storm down south in Lafayette County currently. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more details, though.
Thanks, Jacob. We have a viewer-submitted photo from the Spring Green area. I appreciate this, Leslie. There is no need to take photos during these dangerous storms, but we appreciate this as this verifies that rotating storm, which we're going to take full screen here. This is called a supercell thunderstorm. This whole thunderstorm is rotating. If we can come back to me, if it is possible, on the 3x3. If it's not, that's okay. What we're seeing down here, this is the wall cloud, the lowering of this whole supercell thunderstorm that's rotating, and then what you have out in front of that wall cloud is the rain and the hail. So this is a rotating storm that substantiates, that verifies. It's showing you that in southern Sauk County, northern Iowa County, eventually southwestern Columbia County, and northwestern Dane County, we are tracking a rotating storm. This, again, is where we're seeing the rotation and that lowering of that wall cloud. Appreciate that photo, Leslie. I'm going to go back to our wind tracker tool. That gives us the best indication of where the winds are. Are they moving towards the radar, away from the radar? Is that a tight rotation? Is it a broadening of rotation? And the good news is, at least right now, although again, we're getting continued updates here, the rotation is a bit more broad, certainly more broad than what it was when the storm was just east and southeast of Spring Green and crossing over Highway 14, where I'm seeing rotation, winds that are moving towards the radar against winds that are moving away from the radar. That is what we look like when we put some arrows on here. This is where that rotation is, south and west of Honey Creek. It's broad. It's not tight right now, but we're going to be keeping a close eye on the potential for this rotation to tighten up again. I also want to make note, too, that this part of southern Wisconsin is a bit further away from the National Weather Service radar, which is towards Milwaukee. And sometimes the radar can only see rotation in the middle and the upper parts of the storm. So low-level rotation sometimes is harder to see as well. And I also want to call out, east of 23 on Plain, this is a very hilly terrain. So radar to be able to verify rotation may struggle a bit over the southeastern portion of Sauk County because of the geography. Jacob, it sounds like you have more information.
Yeah, we actually have a new tornado warning just to the south of the previous one. This one is for portions of Dane County. This does include Mount Horeb, and I was actually noticing there was a little bit of a couplet forming on the radar. So we could also be seeing hail up to 1.5 inches in diameter. But taking a look at the wind tracker, there is kind of a second couplet forming just to the southeast of Dodgeville. Now, thankfully, we're not seeing as strong of rotation as we're seeing with the couplet near Spring Green. But right around here, just near Jonesdale, we are seeing the possibility that rotation could be forming. And even without the formation of a tornado, we're talking about wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour, which can do damage, and hail up to 1.5 inches in diameter. So let's take a look at the current hail size. Looks like down south, just near the border of Iowa and Lafayette County, we are seeing some hail cores up to around 1 inch in diameter. So this hail that large could definitely do some damage. Advise everyone to stay inside, and as I've been talking about, stay in the lowest and most interior portion of your home. So let's take a look at the entire system as a whole. Again, we do have several severe thunderstorm warnings, 2 tornado warnings right now. We do not have a confirmed tornado yet, but the couplets of rotation are definitely a little suspect. And I also want to point out once again that there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for most of Dane County, as well as a good portion of Columbia County and Greene County. And this entire line of thunderstorms has the capability of producing a tornado. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more.
Thanks, Jacob. Some new information to share along. We're just getting reports of tree damage in the south side of Dodgeville, which would line up where we have the southern tornado warning, and then we have the northern tornado warning. That's for portions of far northern Iowa County, the southern portion of Sauk County, and now going into the northwestern portion of Dane County and the southwestern portion of Columbia County. 2 tornado warnings, as Jacob has mentioned, areas that are in the path of these rotating storms. Arena at 713, although Arena, you're somewhat in between both areas of rotation. Nonetheless, it's close enough. You should still be seeking your tornado-safe shelter. Blue Mounds, 7:16 p.m. That's a little bit further to the south in eastern Iowa County. Perry, as you get into Dane County. Mazomanie at 7:21 p.m., so that's in about 11 minutes. Cardinal Ridge at 7:22 p.m. Mount Horeb at 7:23 p.m. Clevenville at 7:28 p.m., and then that's going to be getting a little bit more populated areas if these tornado warning storms hold together. That will be 7:30 in Cross Plains, and the Cross Plains UW Health Clinic and Montrose, the community of Montrose at 7:36 p.m. as that moves off towards the north and towards the east. It sounds like we also have some power outages information. I can share this with you. This also lines up with this line of storms stretching from Sauk County all the way down through Iowa County, off into Grant County, and also Rock County as well. Folks without power right now, again, not surprised in the slightest to see these coming in as we track. This is a line number one of, I shouldn't say a line number one, this is probably line 2 or 3 that we've had this evening, but we also have another tornado warning that's being extended. I'm going to take a look at that, and Jacob, why don't you feel free to lend some additional information.
Yeah, I want to take the entire system as a whole, because as we've been talking about, this line extending all the way from the Dells down south and even further north beyond that towards northern Wisconsin. But here's a look at the timing of the system as it moves into very heavy populated areas. So right now the time is around 7:10 p.m. So it'll be in the Dells at around 7:14, Middleton 7:23, Monroe 7:15, Fitchburg 7:26, and continuing further on, Madison at around 7:30. And there are a few tornado warnings with this system. Alex just mentioned that there was the additional one, but there is still the one just to the south of that tornado warning that got extended. So let's take a look at the wind tracker on both of these tornado warnings. So zooming further in, there is a little bit of a couplet looking like about halfway between Dodgeville and Mount Horeb, just to the south of Barneveld. I would say everyone in Mount Horeb, Cross Plains, Barneveld, get to the lowest, most interior portion of your home. Like as I've been talking about live on coverage, get a couch possibly flipped over and possibly lay under the couch. Right now, there is no report of a tornado, but this couplet of rotation could definitely quickly strengthen into a tornado. Now, looking at the debris signature, all right, there is a little bit of a suspect of a possible debris right here. No indication that there is a tornado, but when you see sort of these yellows and greens, that's some indication that at the very least the winds are picking up possibly some grass and dirt on the ground and possibly lofting it up. Now, thankfully, earlier in the day in Iowa, there was a very strong indication of a tornado where there was a clear blue on the debris signature. Yellows and greens aren't times to panic yet, but it is a little bit concerning. So again, for those of you that are in the path of this system, I would advise everyone to get to the lowest, most interior portion of your home. As we've been saying it, we cannot stress it enough. And it's really along this entire line because it's producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and hail up to an inch, maybe even 1.5 inches in diameter. And again, not just those of you in the tornado warning, everyone should be inside right now because these storms are very powerful. I'll send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more details.
Thanks, Jacob. Also want to go down through this line of tornado warning storms, go through tornado safety, give Jacob an opportunity to take a breather. We have 3 tornado warning storms stretching from Sauk County over towards Columbia County, down into Iowa County, and then into Dane County. These are 3 different areas of rotation, as Jacob was mentioning, so this entire line has the potential for producing tornadoes. The first tornado warning until 7:45 p.m., so that's for another 30 minutes. That's for Columbia and Sauk counties. This storm is moving just southwest of Baraboo. We'll get a little bit closer on that in a moment, and then moving into the northwestern portion of Columbia County as we get updates in real time here with our radar. The second tornado warning storm, this is the one that originally was tornado warned over Iowa's southern portion of Sauk County and then heading up towards the Prairie du Sac area. That's still in effect until 7:15 p.m. So for a couple more moments here, we'll see if we get an update from the National Weather Service. Also hail to the size of 1.25 inches in diameter. So that's between a quarter-sized hail and also perhaps up to golf ball-sized hail with that particular storm that's nearing the Sauk City area. And then a larger thunderstorm here that it looks a little bit less indicative of rotation with looking at just our radar reflectivity, but this is a broader area of a thunderstorm moving into Dane and Iowa counties. This is radar indicated in hail with that storm again to 1.5 inches in diameter. This whole line of thunderstorms, I'm just going to zoom out here, put a quick track on this and go over some tornado safety rules. As this line of thunderstorms progresses towards the east, it's moving into an environment that is very primed for the continuation of these storms to stay strong and severe. So I want to put a broad track on this to give folks that are downstream of this area of thunderstorms that has the history of rotation. Blue Mound, 7:15 p.m. Mazomanie, 7:17 p.m. Roxbury at 7:25 p.m. New Glarus at 7:31 p.m. Lake Wisconsin at 7:32 p.m. Middleton at 7:36 p.m. And then Fitchburg and Madison. If this line of thunderstorms with the history of rotation holds together, we'll be moving into Madison and Fitchburg into more populous areas as we head towards 7:45 p.m. Jacob, you have additional information to share.
Yeah, I just want to mention that we've been talking about that this is just the first line of thunderstorms. Taking a look just a little bit further west for a moment, there is another severe thunderstorm kind of entering Grant County. Looks like it'll enter Grant County within the next 30 minutes to an hour. And with this storm, 80-mile-per-hour wind speeds are the hazards, and we could possibly see a tornado. So if some areas, although you've seen thunderstorms already, the thunderstorms are not over yet. So let's take a look at the entire system as a whole again. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Madison and pretty much the central and western portions of Dane County. And then we've been talking about the 2 tornado warnings. Let's take a look at the wind tracker couplet again. This is the best indication of rotation. And I do also want to apologize if we may sound repetitive, but we cannot stress enough that this is a very possible dangerous situation. And so for those of you, especially those of you near these couplets of rotation, one is right here to the south of Barneveld. Get to the lowest, most interior portion of your home. I would even advise if that location is not near TV, possibly turn us up so you can hear us while you're in that more interior portion of your home. So that is the first couplet. All right, the wind tracker just updated, and we got some good news. Doesn't look like there's any significant rotation near Barneveld and Mount Horeb, but I advise everyone to maintain precaution. Looking further up north towards Prairie du Sac, not as strong of a couplet, but there is quite a bit of a difference in the wind speeds, considering red on one side and all green on one side. And in this situation, we also are seeing some pretty strong winds within this couplet as well. So taking a look, we're seeing around 45 miles per hour. It doesn't look like it's actually too bad, but overall, we could easily be seeing these rotations continue to form. Let's take a look at the entire system as a whole once again. This line of storms is quite long, extending all the way from the northern portion of Wisconsin, even further south towards Illinois. But pretty much our entire area seeing this line of storms roll through. And for those of you in Madison, should be here around 7:30. I'll send it over to meteorologist Alex Arrington for more.
Thanks, Jacob. I was also going to just take a recap, a wider view, and I appreciate you doing that because we want southern Wisconsin to know while we have a line of severe thunderstorms moving into south central Wisconsin, there's yet a few other lines that we have yet to get through. The last line of thunderstorms is still stretching from northeastern Iowa down to I-80 near Cedar Rapids. That last line will move through southern Wisconsin over the course of the next couple hours. The good news, at least hopefully good news, is that this line of thunderstorms currently moving through southern Wisconsin may take away some of the energy from the atmosphere for this additional line and may weaken that line. We'll keep our eyes and ears in tune for that. We'll go back down through the tornado warned storms. Again, we stayed live wall to wall for tornado warnings across all of southern Wisconsin. You do have the option as well to watch your FBI programming as well. And it looks like we're getting an update here for all of Dane County as we speak right now. You're probably hearing my phone and other phones going off here in our building. So we will just take a quick brief move down to this new warning. This is for all of much of Dane County. This will take this through downtown Dane County as we speak right now. We'll put a track on this. This is for a history of tornado warned storms that are stretching from Sauk County all the way down through Iowa County. This is still radar indicated, moving to the east at approximately 50 miles per hour. Put a track on this whole line of potential tornado-producing storms. It stretches from nearly the Dells, clear down through the southwestern portion of Dane County. We'll put a track on this as it moves off to the east at around 40 to 50 miles per hour as we speak right now. Communities that are going to be in the path of this storm as it moves through Columbia County and through Dane County. Cross Plains, 7:20 p.m. Springdale, 7:22 p.m. Lake Wisconsin at 7:25 p.m. Middleton at 7:29 p.m. Waunakee at 7:31 p.m. Fitchburg at 7:33. Madison and the Madison Airport shortly after 7:30 p.m. if this line holds together of rotation, McFarland and then Sun Prairie as we approach 7:45 p.m. What we like to do is we like to use our wind tracker tool to be looking at areas of suspect rotation. We'll have some additional information coming here from Jacob Montesano in just a couple moments, but areas of rotation that really briefly here that we likely are seeing some rotation would be just west and southwest of Baraboo, north and west of Sumter, south of North Freedom. That's one area of rotation over the eastern portion of Sauk County, going right down the line here. Not seeing any tight rotation in that Arena Mesa Mania area, although that rotation that we were talking about before near Barneville and Blue Mounds currently appears to be rather on the weak side right now as that enters into Dane County. But still enough rotation along this entire line of thunderstorms that has prompted the extension of that tornado warning through Columbia and Dane County here. And this, Jacob, you have some additional information to share. Thank you.
Yeah, there's another storm just to the south of our area right now entering Lafayette County. This storm could produce 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts again. So for those of you that thought the storm across Lafayette County was clearing out of the area, well, there's another one entering. And as we mentioned, we are going to see several lines of thunderstorms throughout the evening. So this may be lasting for a few more hours. So taking a look at the hail parameter, we've been talking a lot about the rotation and wind, but we have had these storms with a history of hail up to 1 inch in diameter, even 1.5 inches in diameter, just to the north and northwest of Platteville. Now, thankfully, it looks like the hail has kind of decreased a little bit as the systems have moved to the north and east. So overall, the hail is improving, but we continue to cover for the tornado warning. Again, this is for all of Dane County, including not all of Dane County, excuse me, but this does include Madison, Middleton, Fitchburg, even Sun Prairie, I believe. Yes, it doesn't, or just to the west of Sun Prairie. So for those of you in the tornado warning, time to get to the lowest, most interior portion of your home, get away from windows, and just hunker down, and we will take you through this system. Looking once again at the wind tracker. Again, we show the wind tracker a lot because it's the best indication of where the tornadoes might be. Thankfully, we do not have a strong couplet of rotation that we were looking at earlier in Barneveld. Looks like the rotation has kind of diminished significantly down there, so that's good news. Looking further south, though, there is a little bit of a concerned area just to the southwest of Perry. This area is producing wind speeds up to around 60, 65 miles per hour, and actually we just got an update with the wind tracker. So let me zoom out a little bit. All right, good news, we're not seeing any strong couplet of rotation down here. A little bit of more concern near Prairie du Sac as we are seeing a few areas where we could possibly be talking about rotation just to the south of Prairie du Sac and also just to the north of Prairie du Sac. So these are the areas that right now we have the most concern with, but the entire area likely experiencing severe weather or likely going to experience severe weather. So wherever you are, I would advise you to, as we've been talking about, stay inside. And even if there is a tornado, you likely won't be able to see it because there is plenty of rainfall, so the tornado will likely be very rain-wrapped. And in just about an hour, we are going to get to sunset, so the tornado may not be visible at all because it's dark out. So once again, we have a line of storms right now making its way towards Madison, already impacting portions of Dane County. Let's time this out for the entire area, and then I'll send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more. So this line is covering almost our entire viewing area, and it is moving to the northeast at around 55 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty fast. So here's a look at the towns that will be impacted by it over the next 30 minutes. Verona, 7:23, just about a minute. 7:27 in Fitchburg, 7:30 for Madison, 7:37 for McFarland, 7:41 for Stoughton, 7:43 for Sun Prairie, 7:50 for Edgerton, and this system is likely going to continue to move off to the northeast. At the moment, those of you down south in Janesville and Beloit, you likely will get some storms at some point, but we aren't seeing any storms in immediate tracking immediately into your area. Now I'll send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more.
Thanks, Jacob. I also want to just take a step back and talk about the history of these rotating storms. This is a photo that was sent to us, Leslie, near Spring Green, where we had tight rotation along Highway 14. That was some time ago. What Jacob has been mentioning is these storms have been congealing, have been forming into lines, so the rotation is rain wrapped. So it's not quite as clear as where we saw the rotation when this storm was near Spring Green with that lowering wall cloud. But this whole line of thunderstorms has had a history of producing rotation. I'm going to take us again through that line of rotation and then also talk about tornado safety and then mention that next line of thunderstorms that will be following this line of thunderstorms. Tornado warning till 7:45 p.m. Columbia and Sauk County. This is still radar indicated. The next tornado warning, which is a broader tornado warning that stretches along 51 DeForest all the way over towards Sun Prairie, just east of downtown Madison. This is until 8 o'clock. Hail also potentially between a quarter and golf ball size as that storm moves into through the heart of Dane County as we get another radar update. We also have just a wider view. Not only do we have the tornado threat, the rotation threat, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Columbia, Dane, Greene, and Sauk counties. The threat is considerable, and what this is for, winds potentially up to 70 miles per hour in pockets along this line of thunderstorms. Also wanting to mention, this is not the only line of thunderstorms that southern Wisconsin may see yet tonight. This is the most prominent line that's moving through right now, just west of Madison, which we've been tracking for hours and really, quite frankly, all day. There's another line of thunderstorms west of the Mississippi River. This next line of thunderstorms, as it moves into southern Wisconsin, should end the severe weather threat as we get a little bit later into the evening. But again, if you are tornado warned, so this will be Sauk County, Columbia County, eastern Iowa County, much of Dane County, you need to be in the center of the basement. Your interior room is the place to be. Cover your head and seek shelter in a sturdy building. And then briefly, we'll turn this back over to Jacob. If you are in a vehicle, ideally try to seek a sturdy shelter. If you're outside, get into a ditch. If you are near a public building, try to find an interior room. If you're near a store, a Walmart, a Walgreens, those walk-in fridges tend to provide better protection against tornado winds that we are tracking in southern Wisconsin. Jacob.
Yeah, I do want to mention that there are other parts of our area not under the tornado warning that do have some strong storms. So for those of you tuning in further west in Crawford County, there is a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. We could see 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this system. And further north, talking north of the Dells, no severe thunderstorm warning, but there is plenty of rain expecting for those of you in Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake County. Again, we haven't talked about it as much simply because there aren't any warnings to it. And those that have the warnings are experiencing the stronger storms. So we still have those tornado warnings in effect for Madison as well as up north for western Columbia County. Looking at Wind Tracker once again, we aren't seeing a lot of rotation. Probably the biggest area of concern is just to the south of Prairie du Sac, where we are seeing a little bit of a couplet, but nothing to suggest an actual tornado, and we haven't had any reports of a confirmed tornado. And also just north of Prairie du Sac, there's also some couplets of rotation near Sumter and Moon Valley. This system is moving to the northeast pretty quickly at around 55 miles per hour. So this system is expanding for the entire region. Let's time out this system once again for everyone. As we go into the dark time hours, it's also important to know that if there's a tornado, you likely won't see it, especially when it's dark out, but right now it will likely be rain wrapped. So here's the timing of the system for our entire area. It should be in Middleton any minute, Fitchburg and Madison right around 7:30, 7:45 for those of you in Sun Prairie, 7:50 for Watoma. And as I've been talking about, those of you down south of this storm in Janesville and down south towards Beloit, you folks will likely see some severe weather at some point. Just nothing is tracking into the area at the moment. So as we look once again at this entire system, plenty of rain, plenty of lightning. We may even see some localized flooding. If you do see a flooded street, do not drive into it. You never know what could be in the flooding waters, and try not to walk in it unless you absolutely need to. Again, floodwaters could contain some dangerous some dangerous objects that could flow with the floodwaters. So that's just also important to mention. I also want to talk about the hail that we've been seeing from the system. Thankfully, the hail has improved. This is the hail measurements over the last 30 minutes or so, and we're still indicating hail up to around 1 inch in diameter. But when the storms were out in Platteville, there was hail up to 1.5 inches in diameter. So that is improving a little bit. But even beyond the couplets of rotation, we are experiencing some pretty strong winds with this system. So if I query some of these specifically, just to the west of Mount Horeb, we're talking about wind speeds up to 67 miles per hour, and this storm could produce wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour. And this also includes further south towards Darlington, where that second system is now entering through Lafayette County. Wind speeds once again up to 60 miles per hour. This entire storm is expected to impact the majority of our region, and this is not going to be the last line of thunderstorms either. So we could be talking about thunderstorms into the later evening hours. Also looks like we got an extension of the tornado warning, and this does include Marquette and Green Lake County. So let's query this tornado warning. Still no confirmation of a tornado, but we could easily see this form, and these tornadoes can form very quickly with very little notice. This system is also moving very fast, northeast at around 50 to 55 miles per hour. So the speed of how fast the storm is moving will contribute to those very strong winds that we could be talking about. Also looking at hail up to 1 inch in diameter. So again, just stay inside. Don't go out and try and view the tornado. Again, if there is a tornado, it is likely rain wrapped. So let's take a look at the wind tracker. Okay, so this area is now a little bit more concerned just to the north of West Point, south of Moon Valley, and to the southwest of Lake Wisconsin. Right here, this is a little bit more of a concern as we're seeing a little bit more of a couplet. So again, for those of you in this area, Moon Valley, Lake Wisconsin, get to the lowest, most interior portion of your home. And I would even advise, if that's not in a room with a television, try to turn us up, and so you can hear us from that more interior part of your home. I would even suggest flipping over your sofa and possibly hiding underneath the sofa. That would be even safer. Again, this area of rotation is now turning a little bit of a concern. Now, thankfully, we don't see anything on the debris signature, so that is good news. But just over the last 10 minutes or so, this area of rotation kind of has formed. And for those of you in Merrimack, Lake Wisconsin, it's pretty much at your area right now. So hunker down and stay inside until this system has passed. Let's take a full view of the system once again. We do have that tornado warning for portions of Marquette, Green Lake, and also Columbia counties. This actually still includes Sauk County right now, and then the tornado warning further south in Dane County. At this moment, there's not a lot on radar in Dane County to signify a tornado. Again, that couplet north of Prairie du Sac is a little bit concerning, but despite there being a tornado warning for Madison, I don't see any indication of rotation, but we're still seeing some hail and still seeing some winds. So I want to once again zoom in on this area towards just north of Prairie du Sac near West Point. So I mean, take a look at that. 72 miles per hour gate-to-gate shear. That is fairly concerning right now. Now, no reason to hit the panic button yet, but we still advise everyone to stay inside. We'll track you through this storm, and it should be out of here within the next 10 minutes for those of you very close to this couplet of rotation. So as we take a look a little bit closer, it'll be tracking towards Merrimack, Lake Wisconsin. Further north, we could be seeing it track towards Derwin's Glen. Even those of you in Moon Valley, especially just south of Moon Valley, we could be seeing this rotation impact your area. And again, there's no indication of a tornado, but this is the area of concern. It is moving to the northeast fairly quickly at around 50 miles per hour. Let's actually freeze frame the radar and point specifically. Yeah, it'll be right around there, kind of where we see a little bit of a hook. We're actually not seeing any indication of a hook right now, but the system could very well be rotating as it moves to the northeast, and that is when we can have bigger concerns. Let's also zoom out and recap all the storms we are seeing across our area. So as I've been talking about, we have another storm tracking through Lafayette County. Severe thunderstorm warning with this storm, as we could see wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour. This is until 7:45 p.m., which will be for about 15 more minutes. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning further west for those of you in northern Crawford County, and this system also producing 70 mile per hour wind speeds. So our entire area dealing with severe weather, and we do have a few tornado warnings. I'm going to send over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm going to add on to your recap recap of all of the warnings. We're going to go from the top of the line and give Jacob a break and go through all the way to the bottom of this line of thunderstorms. We also have some additional information to share about power outages, and also want to make a comment too about programming that's on CBS 3-1. But first, the warning, severe thunderstorm warning to the north up towards Juneau and Adams counties. That severe thunderstorm warning again for damaging winds. We've had winds potentially upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Get that to pop up there. This again, Juneau and Adams counties, considerable threat here with winds again approaching 70 miles per hour. This can do quite a bit of damage. This is until 8:30 p.m. Then moving down, the tornado warning storm that's going to be moving out of the Baraboo Dells areas and up into Marquette and Green Lake counties. If it holds together, that's until 8:15 p.m. Again, that is radar indicated at this point in time. Good news is from Jacob, myself, also taking a moment here these past few minutes, reviewing what we're getting for the National Weather Service, not seeing any reports of tornadoes at this point in time. So our analysis is in line with their analysis, but we still do have the tornado warning storm for Dane County. Radar indicated. Don't want to leave out that there's the threat for large hail greater than the size of quarters as this moves through Dane County into a very populated area. Going further to the south with that line down towards New Glarus. Severe thunderstorm warning, 70 mile per hour winds. It says tornado possible because anywhere along this line of thunderstorms, we can get brief spin-ups along this line of damaging winds. And then we have one more severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for southeastern Iowa County, but really more for prime Lafayette County here. Considerable radar indicated wind speeds potentially upwards of 70 miles per hour. This line is not the only line of thunderstorms that we're expecting to move through southern Wisconsin. We have our tornado watch in effect until 12 a.m. This is for this first line of thunderstorms. We have a new tornado watch that's issued until 12 a.m. That's just a little bit further to the south. We still have this additional line of thunderstorms west of the Mississippi River that's going to be moving into an environment that's still conducive for all forms of severe weather. So it's very, very possible that as this new line of thunderstorms moves into southern Wisconsin, that we may again see the continuation of more severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings carrying us through the evening. Also getting word that we have a significant increase in power outages across southern Wisconsin, Grant County 158, Iowa County 346, 208 in Juneau County, Sauk County, quite a few outages at over 1,600 in total. That's 2,500 outages across southwestern and south central Wisconsin. Also want to make a comment here. We stay wall to wall with tornado warning storms for all of southern Wisconsin. You can tune into your season finales on our 3-2 station and also on channel 14 on cable. We again are going to be breaking in continuously for the continuation of these storms moving through southern Wisconsin, but just want to let you know that there are options to watch your primetime finales as well, and then you have to change over to 3-1 if you want to continue to get updates on severe weather. Jacob, do you have any additional information to add?
Yeah, there are a few thunderstorms once again to the south of our area producing severe thunderstorm warnings. Take a look at this one. 90 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with this storm just to the south of our viewing area, moving into Lafayette and Greene counties. So for those of you in Monroe, expect these storms to possibly cause some wind damage. There's also a storm just to the west of that, possibly entering Grant County again. So you folks may see another storm roll through your area. This one, wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour and hail up to 1 inch in diameter. So we are not quite done, even for those of you all the way west towards the Mississippi River. So taking a look at the entire system, once again, we have that tornado warning special. The one that we're a little bit more concerned with is the northernmost one that's right now in effect for Columbia, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. But it does look like the new wind tracker update shows less of a rotation and more of just straight line winds, which can produce damage. I do want to preface that just because there isn't a tornado does not mean we cannot see damage. I'm going to send it back over to meteorologist Alex Harrington, who has more info.
Yes, thanks, Jacob. I'm going to just put a different perspective here on these additional severe thunderstorms that are going to be coming out of east central Iowa up into southwestern Wisconsin, into Grant, Lafayette counties that have already experienced severe weather all evening. Getting word from the National Weather Service with these thunderstorms, they do have a history of widespread structural damage. This is south and west over portions of eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. As Jacob was mentioning, winds to 80 to 90 miles per hour as those those storms race off towards the north and towards the east. So these are thunderstorms that will be eventually entering likely southwestern Wisconsin over the course of the next hour. Let's go back through again here through our line of thunderstorms and go back through as a recap. I also want to use Future Track to give you some perspective on when we expect this entire event to end across southern Wisconsin. First, severe thunderstorm warning, Adams and Juneau County to the north, well north of Madison on 90. Considerable damage possible with winds of upwards of 70 miles per hour. The hail threat is coming down a bit. That's not shocking to me as these storms form into lines. Usually the hail threat starts to decrease. The wind threat starts to increase, and also their forward speed begins to increase as well, speeding up the storms moving across southern Wisconsin, which would be good news to get these storms out of here. We also have a tornado warning till 8:15 p.m. and this is for the eastern portion of Columbia County, and then this moves up into the eastern part of Sauk County, and then moving up into Marquette and Green Lake counties as this moves off towards the east at about 30 miles per hour. We'll continue going down through this line, but we do have some video that we want to show with our Edgewater Skycam. So what we're looking at right here is we're looking out over Lake Mendota, looking off towards the west. This is that line of thunderstorms approaching Madison. Very vivid lightning. As I look at this right now, I'm not seeing any lowering or anything that would be suspect of rotation at this point in time. But the main point is that this line of thunderstorms that has had a history of producing tornadoes is moving right into downtown Madison as we speak. All right, it looks like we also have some. This is the north Merrimack Ferry here. Very strong winds blowing across the street. Again, we have winds clocking in easily 60, 70 miles per hour as this line of thunderstorms races off to the east very quickly at approximately 50 miles per hour. So as we continue to track, we've got visuals that are showing that we have very strong winds. We have had a history of rotation in that storm that was near Spring Green earlier, producing a wall cloud, trees down in Spring Green, and then also the storms that will be entering southwestern Wisconsin. Again, another line producing considerable structural damage over portions of eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. Jacob, you have some additional information you'd like to share?
Yeah, with the amount of rainfall we're seeing, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a few flooded roads, especially for those of you in the southwestern portion of the state, which have seen several rounds of precipitation. So here are some flash flood safety tips. Evacuate if necessary if you are in a flood, if you're stuck in a flooded car, and if you see a flooded road. Our motto is turn around, don't drown. Never know what is, moving around in those flood waters. And obviously this includes if you're walking, and don't cross flooded roads. And not to mention, not sure if we'll have flooding to this degree, but if there is flood damaged buildings, just be cautious when returning to them. Now we also have another viewer photo. I believe this was sent in by Sauk City of a tree down. This was sent in by Julie. It looks like there's a tree down on both sides of the street, and we haven't had any reports of a tornado. So this shows that the straight line winds are strong enough to produce significant damage. We also have a severe thunderstorm to the south of our area that has possibly 90 mile per hour wind speeds with it. So we're still talking about very possibly destructive storms. This storm is tracking towards Lafayette and Greene counties, so just be prepared for that. But our entire area should be prepared for these thunderstorms to continue, because if you notice, there's the line in the central part of our area and also the western portion of our area. So for those of you out in Prairie du Chien and Platteville, still going to experience some more storms before the evening is over. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jacob. I appreciate the tag coverage here. It takes a whole team to keep us informed here across southern Wisconsin as these dangerous storms continue to move off to the east. And Jacob, if you maybe perhaps want to take a look at that storm that's going to be entering Grant County from the southwest that has a history of that considerable structural damage, that would be great. I want to spend some time here on Dane County. That tornado warning still in effect until 8 p.m., so that's for approximately another 18 minutes. This is radar indicated, but we're going to use the wind tracker tool. We haven't used that in a little while. Not only are we looking at the potential for rotation, I don't see anything across Dane County where we're seeing tight couplets, red against green, at least in small consolidated areas. But that doesn't mean that these storms can't produce damaging straight line winds. In fact, what we may be looking at here over Dane County right now is a transition from a tornado threat to a damaging straight line wind event, which of course can produce winds strong enough, very similar to tornadoes, tornadoes, what I'm looking at here across the western portion of Dane County is similar to what we call a bow echo coming out of Iowa County, moving right into the heart of Dane County, where we could be looking at wind speeds of upwards of over the western portion of Dane County, looking at winds easily 50, 60. There's a 64 mile per hour wind gust north of Highway 14. So winds between 55 to 65 miles per hour. This tornado warned storm is also, again, not just warned for rotation, but for damaging winds and also hail as well. Well, we probably should take a quick peek at that. If there is any hail, that hail threat has come down considerably, at least as it looks like right now, but we can get a little bit closer. This would be just south of the Beltline, actually very close to our station here on Raymond Road. We're looking at possibility of some hail. It's sub-severe, half-inch in diameter, but as I mentioned before, with these storms, as we've been going down through this line, as they move into lines and consolidate, the hail threat typically goes down, the damaging wind threat typically goes up. So we have that tornado warning. It's still in effect for the heart of Dane County here, and also Greene and Iowa and Lafayette counties until 8:45 p.m. and winds, as I was just showing on the wind tracker, potentially upwards of 70 miles per hour. Jacob.
Yeah, it's starting to look more and more like the threat will be, the bigger threat will be straight line winds. And we actually have an additional severe thunderstorm warning. You can see it flashing in black and yellow. This does include a second severe thunderstorm warning for Madison. This is for the storm to the southwest right now of Dane County. We could be seeing wind speeds up to 70 miles per hour and hail up to an inch in diameter. But I want to talk about some of the wind speeds that we're seeing to the south of our area, up to 84 miles per hour. And this storm is tracking right into Lafayette, also into Greene County, and then eventually making its way up to Dane County. Zooming further out, this storm right now impacting Dane County and also still impacting the northeastern portion of Lafayette County, seeing wind speeds close to 70 miles per hour, 65 miles per hour. So it's very important that you folks stay inside, even if there's not a tornado. And thankfully, the tornado threat isn't very high right now, at least based on the wind tracker model. We could be seeing some very strong winds that could be at EF0 levels. So when wind speeds are, as I mentioned, up to around 84 to 85 miles per hour, that's very close to an EF0 tornado. So we could be talking about tornado strength winds on the lower side of tornado strength, but still very strong winds nonetheless. So it's important to keep the situation, to take the situation seriously, even if there's not a tornado. Now, with that, there still is a tornado warning because these tornadoes can form very quickly and with very little notice. But also, as we've been talking about, we are seeing plenty of rainfall with the system. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do see a few flooded roads. And I also want to point out a few storms to the west of our area still expected to impact portions of Grant, Crawford. It looks like another storm might roll through. This storm also might roll through Dodgeville a bit later. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Alex Harrington for more.